So to get started, what we're going to do is a little bit of calculation as we build this inventory sheet. And what I've done is I've got kind of the template in place of all the elements that we're going to keep, that we're going to be tracking. But we're going to slowly build this, and you're going to watch the whole process and learn quite a few things along the way. Let me get you acquainted with what is going on here up to this point. We've got a product number. This is just something that's typed in manually. We've got a category. Right now, we're also typing that in manually. I am going to show you later on how to make that a drop-down list. We've got a brand. We're typing that in manually, as well as a model number. And then we also type in the unit cost. And this right now, this cell is formatted as currency. This, what we're essentially doing is this is going to calculate for us a number of things. It's going to calculate a retail value that we can actually assign to it. It's going to calculate the total cost of goods on hand and the total value of those goods if they're sold at that retail value. And then we're going to do a number of things with that information later on. But the next thing that we need to do, this is all information that we have punched in. So the first thing we need Excel to do for us is to calculate that retail value. What that is going to be is whatever our cost is by a predetermined markup. And we're just going to say it's 150%. So I'll click in that cell. I'm going to type the equal sign. And I could do this with the sum function, but I don't actually have to since I'm just computing some math, right? I can just do the cell reference F4 times, and we'll do, again, 150% for the markup. And when I hit enter, what that gives us is $351.75. Now, that's all well and good, except that doesn't look, like a real retail number. So this is just a number that we're going to start with, and then we're going to fix that so that it has a little bit different form. It has that, famous $9.99 type of feel at the end of it. But before that even happens, I want you to see something here. Excel has converted this to accounting. But if I set it to general, then we have the potential, not sure I'm going to pick a number here that'll do it, but let's do 234.47. Yeah, there we go. We have the potential that this decimal place is not going to be formatted as currency like we want it to. And as it turns out, this field is eventually, this cell I should call it, is eventually going to be converted not as a number, but as text. And what that means is that we have got to force the formatting of these decimal places so that it is rounded properly and that it is in fact guaranteed to always have two decimal points. And again, we can't convert this. We don't want to format it as currency because we're going to be converting it to text. And you'll see why we have to do that in the next several videos. So what I want to do is place this little formula that we have done inside of a function. And that function is going to take care of all that formatting for us. And the function is called round. Now, a lot of times as you create formulas and use functions, you're going to start with things, you're going to start at the lowest level and kind of expand out. And that's one thing that we have to tackle with using nested functions inside of formulas is remember that things are referenced inside and it kind of grows outside. And I'll show you what I mean by doing just a quick example right here. Let's go inside of this cell. This is all going to be scrapped, so it doesn't matter. But I want to show you an example of using this round function first, and then we'll be able to apply that to something a little more challenging, like what's up here. So let's just say equals round, and then our opening parenthesis, because that's how we send information to functions. These are the parameters. And then we have the number that we want to round, and I'll just do 134.6589. Okay, huge number, and then a comma, and then the number of digits. What do you want to round it to? Let's do the number 2 and a closing parenthesis and hit enter. Look what we get. We have rounded that number, and if we click here, we can still see the number, 0.6589, but the result is 0.66. It has rounded it to these 2 digits. Let's see what happens if we change the number of digits that we want to round to 1. Okay, it rounds that 0.6589 up to 0.7. Now, let me show you the way it behaves. What if we wanted to totally wipe out all the decimal places? Well, in that case, we can round it. We can try 0 first. Okay, 0 is going to give us just to that decimal place. So now you can see that it's kind of moving from the right side of the decimal with positive numbers for this value, the number of digits. And then 0 gives us no decimal places. So 1346.6589 has been converted or rounded up to 1347. We can go even further now. If we want to move to the left of that decimal place, we're just going to use a negative number. So right now we're dealing with 1346. If I wanted to round that to the tens place, I could do -1 and hit enter. So now my 1346 has been rounded up to 1350. And I can go even farther if I want, -2. Now it's been rounded to 1300 because that 4, remember when we round things, anything 5 and above is going to bump things up. So anything 4 and below will get rounded down. That's why we're rounded down to 1300. Okay? So in the next video, let's take this use of the round function and apply it to our existing formula.